Now, when you click on your avatar, you go to this URL /account, and of course, at 404s. So let's handle that now. Open up our routes index.js, go to the bottom here, and we'll say router.get /account. And when somebody does that, we will take our user controller and we'll just say .account. Good. Now let's open up our user controller and we'll create a method to handle that. So let's say exports.account is equal to request response. And this is simply going to be response.render the account. And the title will be edit your account. Good. Now we should see that it cannot find the account views file. Good. We'll open up our views folder and create a view for that. There we go. It works. Now, what do we need? First, we need a inner, then we need a form with the action of /account. So we're going to post to ourselves. And then we can start making our edit account interface. So we'll say h2 edit your account. We have our form, which has a method of post. Then we have a label for the name, input, name of name. And then the value is going to be user.name. Okay. Interesting, because user is going to be passed to every single request. We open up our app.js and we'll say locals.user. What this is doing is it's taking the request.user, which Passport will make available to us, and we're passing the user to our locals, which are all the variables that our template is going to have, and we're going to pass it along. Now, before that was just null because we were not logged in. However, in this case, now that we have request.user, which Passport gives us, we can pass it along to our locals. So we can give a user.name. Let's just see if that works so far. There we go. Name is Wes. Good. I like it. Then we'll have label for email, input type of email, name of email, and value equals user.email. And finally, we'll have a save. Name, email, save button. We don't have password here. That's going to come next. We just have name and email. Those are only two pieces of information we have on our account right now. Good. Now, if I were to change this to Wes Lee and update my account, it's 404ing. And the reason why is because when you visit your account, that's get. But when you post the data, that's router.post. And we don't have a route to handle that just yet. So we can go ahead back to our index.js here. And we'll go to our account here. First, actually, we need to make sure that they're logged in before they can go to an account URL. So we'll just say auth controller.is logged in, and then user account. And that'll just make sure that they're logged in before, and then the redirect will kick in for us. Now we'll have router.post /account, and we'll run user controller.update account. Now that's going to be using async await, so we can wrap it in catch errors. Good. So now we need to make a update account method on our user controller. Go down here. Exports update account is equal to async request response. Now what we need to do is take all the data that the user has sent us and update their account with it. But in this case, we don't want to update the hash or anything like that. So we're going to make a separate variable of just called updates. Const updates is equal to, and the name might be updated. So request.body.name, and the email might be updated. So email request.body.email. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our user model and call find one and update. And what that will do is it's going to query for a specific user, and then we're going to update that actual user. So we'll say const user equals await capital U user, that's our model, dot find one and update. And this will take three things. We've used one similar to this before. First, the query. Second, the updates. And then third, some options, which is going to allow us to run the validators on it, right? So let's start with the first one, the query. I'm going to put these each on their own line because they can get a little bit long. The query is going to be based on the ID of the user. So we can simply say the ID, request.user._ID. And that's really important that you actually pull the ID from the request rather than having the user give you their ID, because that could easily be monkeyed with, and you don't want them actually faking the ID. So request.user.id, that's the query. Second, the update is going to be something called $set updates. And what that will do is it's going to take this and set it on top of what already exists in the user, because these are the only two pieces of information we're updating, although our user could have a lot more data associated with it. And then third was the options, which is going to be new, true. That means it returns the new actual user. Second, run validators is going to be true, and that will make sure that if the user is running any sort of monkey business, that it's just going to run them through all the actual validation steps. And then context is going to be query. Context is required for Mongoose to actually do the query properly. If you want to look into that, it's a bit boring, but it needs to be there. Now, once we have that, let's just say response.json user. I always like to just see what the actual user is on. So go to our user profile now, and I'll try update it to Wesley, update my account, and haha, there we go. We're automatically sending back the user, and you can see that the name is now Wesley. But we don't need to send them JSON. What we really need to do is just say response.redirect. And in this case, we could either do two things. We could just say back, or we could redirect them to account. It doesn't matter. And if you say back, it will just redirect you to the URL that they came from. And that's helpful is if this was ever working on multiple endpoints, back will just send them right back to the one that they have. So let's refresh this, go to account, change this to Westerhoff, give it a save. And you can see automatically Westerhoff is saved. And what we could do is give ourselves a success request.flash success updated the profile. So Wesley update. Then we get our flash updated the profile, and we see the updated pieces of information showing. Good. One more thing I just wanted to show you is that you always have this request.user available to you. So what you could do is you could go to any one of these pages and you could do a quick dump. Pre equals h.dump request.user. Or no, it's just user, because in this case it's locals.user. And if you refresh, you're going to see a dump of the actual user. And it's going to have the ID, unique identifier, your name, and your email. And then, of course, we're going to get into a lot more with harding our actual stores. So that is editing our account. Let's move on to the next piece, which is creating a password reset flow if we've forgotten our password.